What's up, people? Just quickly going to clarify a few things from the last video. I tried to rush it in at the last minute. You could tell in the last video I was rushing, like blah, 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 1,000 words a minute, trying to get it all squashed in, but didn't. I think in the end it ended up sounding a bit kind of weird and bizarre, whatever. What was the last thing I said? Something like you got to be in it to win it. When I mean in it to win it is that basically just quickly clarify that and make sense of it, and then we're going to a few other things. Is that one thing I preached to my nephew when he was quite young, roughly about 17, 18, is that, you know, relationships and jobs are very much the same thing, and that's that no one's going to come knocking on your door. The perfect job isn't going to come. The perfect job isn't going to find you, basically, and the perfect woman isn't going to find him either. He has to get out there, and he has to, you know, he has to put in the effort into finding it. And you've got to be in it to win it. It's the more experience, you start off with little experience at first, and then you build that experience, you build that experience, you build that experience. You go to your first job interview and it's terrible, and then you keep on going, you keep on going, and you get better. With age, with experience, you start to get better. And it's very much this job and relationships are exactly the same thing. So in regards to the last video on fornication, why I had to do these videos and get it out there is because I'm not so much encouraging people to fornicate, have sex without marriage. That's not what I'm encouraging people to do. What I'm saying to them, which you kind of gathered from the last video, was that, you know, the NoFap and the MGTOW are very powerful things. They're very powerful tools to keep men. Maybe women can get something from it too, but it keeps men strong and on their feet. You know, it keeps them going. Just keeps them saying, okay, now I have a purpose, and now I know what's going on. It gives them that purpose, those goals. But some people may be using it in the wrong way. You know, some people might be just using it in the wrong way. Some people may be exploiting it as well. You know, so if you're, it's a simple way of putting it to you is this: if you're a guy that hasn't done too well with women, then use that NoFap raw energy that I got after the first 2 weeks. After my porn was stripped and taken away from me, I was suddenly sitting down in my room craving women's attention, you know. In fact, I craved anyone's attention. I remember my friends knocking on my door, and when they were talking I was like, yeah, wow, oh, yeah. And they were like, Luke, you're right, you okay? Like, you're taking some sort of drugs or something, you okay? Like, seriously, you're right? I was like, yeah. And that's literally how I was. I was so starved of attention that I was just craving anyone's attention. But take that positive energy. If you're someone that's okay with girls, then you don't really need to worry. You can say, well, I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to abstain from porn, abstain from masturbation, and really abstain from women, really, and try this whole semen retention thing. Although I think that's a lot harder, the semen retention thing, because some people are beating themselves up if they have a wet dream, whatever. But that's what you want to do, okay, that's fine. If, however, you're a guy that's an introvert, very shy, withdrawn, take these positive things, take that positive energy, and begin asserting yourself with women. Not asserting yourself as in you're raping women or you're raping them with your eyes. You're not walking around now suddenly raping women with your eyes. Start learning how to use that kind of, those urges to kind of in your favor, to suddenly push yourself forward and say, oh, hello, my name's Luke, what's going on, how's your name, what's your name? Oh, my name's Sarah. Okay, Sarah. Now all of a sudden you're pushing yourself to get back out there and start talking to women, okay? As opposed to using it as an excuse. You know, when your friend asks you, oh, so why aren't you talking to girls no more, man? You say, well, you know, that's because I'm MGTOW. That's why. All of a sudden now you think you're James Bond, and, you know, it's not real. This kind of persona that you're putting out there isn't real. Okay, you're hiding behind it, you know. So that's what I'm saying. And guys out there, there'll be guys out there on the NoFap and the MGTOW that know what I'm talking about. Other guys will say, well, look, that's not me, so it's cool, you know. I mean, I've got, you know, it's not, and it is what it is. But I'm just looking out for the ones that are shy or whatever, because I know that I was shy, and I know that, you know, this MGTOW, I know I'm the type of guy where if I know that, you know, it's pushing me in the right direction, even though I'm scared of it, I'll take that leap. I'll take that leap, and I've done that in my past. I've thrown myself in the deep end, and you know, with life we have to take chances. You have to take chances. There's a saying actually, it's better to have loved and been hurt than to have never loved at all, kind of thing. It's kind of like that saying. You've got to take that chance. Right, so I hope that that kind of covers the whole fornication thing, you know, as to why I'm saying to people, right, get out there and this and that. Because I don't want you to waste 5 years of your life avoiding women, and then suddenly when you're back out there for that job interview, you don't even know what the hell's going on. You don't even know your left foot from your right, and now you're spending another 3 years trying to develop game or whatever. That's where I'm coming from with it. All right, so there's a few things that we want to go over. The first thing is this: is that some people are saying that they're coming closer to succeeding in a NoFap because, what did I hear? Maybe because all right, I'll tell you a story. Back in the day, my friend introduced me to a rave. Okay. The first time I went to the rave, I took some sort of tablet that was given to me, and I puked my guts up 5 times. Okay, I don't even need to mention that anyway, but I'm trying to be real with the story. Second time I went there, he gave me that tablet, and not only did I take that, but I took 4 other tablets. I pretty much overdosed on the night. That's what an addictive personality does, basically. But anyway, towards the end of the night, we're walking out, and there's guys, literally friends, trying to fight each other and all of that, and there's women sitting down crying, and I'm saying to my friend, like, you know, what's going on? Why is she crying? What's wrong? He said, oh, they're on the come down. I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, oh, well, when you take an ecstasy tablet, what happens is when you're coming off of the tablet, you experience major depression, basically. It doesn't last for long. It lasts maybe 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever. I was like, okay. So for me and that particular friend, we've been through some real hardships, so it didn't really affect us. Now, before I go into this, I'm not trying to say to people that they should be taking drugs and all of that. I'm not saying that at all. People have died and those kind of things. I'm just trying to explain something to you, so please don't go, oh, he's trying to tell kids to take, or adults to take drugs now. I'm not at all. People have died from ecstasy tablets, and I only went to a rave twice. Okay, and that was through my friends kind of, you know, selling me a dream or selling me an event, saying it was this and it was that, and it wasn't. It was, if anything, it was dangerous, you know. But anyway, they were coming down and they were depressed. They were depressed because, you know, it was something they'd never experienced before. They'd never felt it before. If you're someone that's been watching porn, one of the strongest drugs on the planet, okay, one of a drug that has caused men to do 20, 30, 40, 50 years in jail, where they've gone out there, they've raped some girl, and then they're guilty, and then they've basically strangled her, and now they're spending the rest of their life in jail because of some urge, because of some sexual urge that's caused them to do those things. Sex is one of the strongest drugs on the planet. If that's suddenly removed, and that dopamine, that I can't remember what the other ones are, dopamine, but you know, there's 3 main ones, okay. If that's suddenly removed, and now all of a sudden you have to deal with reality. You're going to work, someone's really annoyed you, you're stressed out, you can't come home, you can't have that reliever, you know. You're at home, you've got way too much time on your hands, you just want to kind of kill some time. You're failing to get to sleep, and normally you would use whatever event it was to get to sleep. You can't do that anymore. You're dealing with normality, and your what do you call it? What word would I use to describe it? Your coping mechanism, your vices, they're gone. They're gone. You're dealing with normality, and it can be a very hard thing to deal with. So some people don't want to deal with normality. They just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal. They don't want to have to deal with life stresses. So they go back to these things. That's where something like counselling may come into it, and counselling will kind of look at, well, you know, how do we deal with these things in a different way rather than use Another thing is some people are afraid of succeeding. You know, I know, for example, like when I set myself goals in like weight training and things like that, you know, I'll work on a goal for like 2 months to try to get like 100, to be lifting, like, I don't know, benching 130 or whatever, 120. I'll work on that for 2 months, and all of a sudden, once I've achieved it, I'll then run out there, and it happens all the time. I'll run out there and I'll buy myself KFC, I'll buy myself packets of crisps, sweets, and I'll binge on those sweets. I'll say, right, this is my reward now, and I'll kind of kill it. I'll kind of cheat. They call it cheating in personal training, but I'll have these cheat days where I'll just go out there because I've hit that reward, and then over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days, where I should go back to the same routine, I suddenly become lazy. I suddenly say to myself, that drive is gone now. I suddenly say to myself, right, I've reached where I needed to reach. I don't really need to do it anymore, kind of thing. And I think sometimes that happens to us as well, is that some people, once they reach that goal of giving up, they just don't know what to do with themselves. You know, so they end up sliding back into it. Another thing is as well is that, you know, think of it like Alcohol Anonymous. Imagine that there's a community, right? I go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I go to these meetings. While I'm sitting down with the meetings, misery needs company, basically. I'm sitting down with these people. They're sharing the same experiences that I'm sharing, right? And it feels good to have someone to talk to, something to talk about. Now imagine that all of a sudden I you know, a year later, I'm no longer an alcoholic, and I'm kind of thrusted out there by myself. And it can be very lonely. Some people don't like the loneliness as well. That you're now there by yourself. All of your old friends are gone, and so it's the loneliness. It's dealing with that because there's a community that's there. So that can be another factor too. What else would I say? Yeah, and the very last thing is this. Last thing I would say is sometimes we're mixing the cure, the antidote, with the poison. And if you're mixing this, I want people to listen to this very carefully now. Sometimes you're mixing the cure, the antidote, with the poison. And what I mean by that is this. Let's assume that I've gone a week without smoking, right? I've gone down to my chemist and they've said to me, right, you can have this electronic cigarette. And they say, when you're going to start? And I say, right, I'm going to start on Wednesday. Wednesday come, I go down there, I immediately throw my cigarettes in the bin, which is a brave thing to do. Throw them in the bin. I start smoking this electronic cigarette. I get past a week. I get past 9 days. I now suddenly have this craving. Maybe someone that works says to me, oh, come on, you know you want a cigarette instead. That thing there's silly. You know you want a cigarette. Just go on, just take one. I go, alright then. And I take the cigarette out of their hand, or they give me one, I light it up and I start smoking it. Then all of a sudden, an hour later, I pick up my electronic cigarette and I go back to the electronic cigarette. Maybe another week goes by. I've gone past a week now. Because you know, sometimes what happens is we work Monday to Friday, right, or Monday to Sunday. Sometimes we want a reward at the end of the week. So maybe just like the working, like you reward yourself from working, maybe at the end of the week you want to reward yourself from the fact that you haven't smoked. So you say, right, I'm just going to have one cigarette or whatever. You take your one cigarette, you smoke that, you put it out, and then you go back to your normal electronic cigarette. Here's the problem with that. This is the biggest problem. You're mixing the cure, the antidote, with the poison. You're mixing them up together. Everything we do works off of habits, rituals, and what was the last one? Habits, rituals, and programs. Our brain runs off of programs. So if I'm programming myself to take the cure, which is helping me get off of it, and then I'm suddenly picking up the actual poison in itself, the cure in itself just it fails to have any use, because I program myself to have both. So what you have to understand, guys, is that it's either one or the other. You know, either you take the cure or you take the poison, but you don't mix both of them together. One thing I can say, for example, one program I've been trying to fight is that every time I had sex back in the past, I would go home and then watch porn immediately after. And for the last year, my sister had sex 7 times. Each and every time that I've had sex within those 7 years, I've had that instant craving where I've set myself up, I've programmed my mind, that ritual of me having sex then coming home and watching porn. I've had to fight that. So the last thing I'll say to you is that don't mix the cure with the poison. I hope you understand what I'm saying, because the cure in itself becomes, it fails to have its use. It's one or the other. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you gained something from it. You will see me around in about 3 weeks time now when this is healed. Peace.